This world crisis came about without women having anything to do with it. If the women of the world had not been excluded from world affairs, things today might have been different. I was born in 1885 in New Jersey of Quaker parents who instilled a belief in me that all men and all women are created equal. The importance of gender equity became a hallmark of my life. Thus so that I never married, so that I could dedicate my life to bring about the 1920 19th Amendment to the Constitution giving women the right to vote. In 1923, not satisfied with a single right protected by our Constitution, I authored what is known today as the Equal Rights Amendment. I have been called the architect of some achievements on behalf of women in the 20th century. After graduating from Swarthmore College in 1905, I traveled to England, where I continued my studies, did social work, and joined the National American Women's Suffrage Association. In 1916, we found the women's suffrage movement divided and dead. The members of NAWSA were passive, satisfied to accept the status of nothing. I was appointed chairman of the organization's congressional committee. My initial work was to organize a parade in Washington and raise awareness for the cause. Our membership numbers went up. Our focus was lobbying for a constitutional amendment to secure the right to vote for women, an amendment that had originally been sought by our suffragist, Susan B. Anthony, and my predecessor, Elizabeth Cady Stanton. They tried to secure the vote state by state. Our approach was to go directly to Washington, D.C. and the president. Soon, my methods caused tension in the NAWSA organization, who felt the amendment was not practical for the times. I formed the National Women's Party in 1916 after I knew I could not convince this group to adopt my methods. We began to introduce some of the methods that I had learned in the suffrage amendment in Britain. My deepest gratitude to Alva Belmont, a multimillionaire who funded our activities, and we covered her in Weekly Suffrages. The NWP continued to lobby and campaign to the Congress and President, who just ignored us. We knew we needed to do something dramatic to get the congressional attention. After campaigning against President Wilson's refusal to support the suffrage amendment, we decided to stage the first political protest by picketing in front of the White House. The picketers, known as the Silent Sentinels, held banners demanding the right to vote. In 1917, we were arrested for obstructing traffic. I, along with the others, were found guilty and incarcerated at the Occoquan Workhouse in Virginia. The prison was terrible, the conditions deplorable. So we went on a hunger strike, protesting the prison conditions. I was moved to the prison's psychiatric ward and force-fed raw eggs through a feeding tube. I continued to be firm in my belief that our efforts would gain attention. And I was right. We continued to get press coverage, and our demonstration and steadfast belief in our cause led President Wilson. Led President Wilson. He came and decided that he should strongly urge Congress to pass this legislation. in 1920, coming down to one vote in the state of Tennessee. The 19th Amendment to the United States Constitution secures the right to vote for women! After passing the 19th Amendment, I continued my studies, adding 3, not 1, not 2, 3 advanced degrees to my doctorate in economics from American University. How fortunate that I was alive and participated in the composition of the 1964 Civil Rights Act by adding language of gender equity. My life was full of activism on behalf of women, lecturing and traveling to continue awareness that we needed an ERA amendment to the Constitution. I proposed the language for such an amendment in 1923, and yet it did not find its way to the Senate to be passed until 1972. The Senate approved the amendment and submitted it to the states for ratification. Only they added a cheap shot, a time limit of 7 years, which was later extended only 3 years. Let's just ignore the fact that Congress was given authority to debate the ERA, and the states were given 10. And yes, only 35 states voted in favor in the time allotted. We needed 38 to vote, and we lost by not 1, not 2, but 3 states. Sadly, as many of the wonderful women in our history, I did not live to see the enactment of this legislation before I died. I died at the age of 92 on July 9, 1977. I had been living at the Quaker Greenlight Extension Home in Morristown Township, New Jersey, near my home of Paulsdale, after my stroke in 1974. My legacy, it should be simple. Remember the 19th Amendment to the Constitution guaranteeing a women's right to vote? My dream, my real dream, was to see the Equal Rights Amendment to the Constitution become a reality. It's not too late. Those who come after me can continue to strive for the passage of the Equal Rights Amendment to guarantee equality and justice for all. Thank you.